I'm dancing to music.
Hey, what's up, people? We're live.
Yay! Welcome to episode 4. No, that's 8. So 4.
Episode 4. Here we are, and I got my glasses on there for
I know
this
you're
episode.
so studious, clean shaven.
All right. Somebody liking it like a baby's butt. It's so smooth.
Yeah, there you go. So here we are again. Stevie and Joe Talk Shit is not going to be the name of our podcast going forward. We have actually come up with the name. It's going to be Horror Metal Casts. Like, yeah, like multiple broken arms casts with an
cast.
But
or casting like a rod, like a
like fishing. Don't ask me anything about fishing. I don't know shit about it. But we figured since this is going to be heavily involved with horror metal sounds going, into the future when the site gets its overhaul and everything like that, that we would like to kind of coincide with that name. Right. So what better words than horror metal and cast podcast? So
it works for me. We have a name now. We have it's official. We have a name.
Our golden.
We are into our 4th podcast already. This is
pretty exciting stuff. Hopefully the audio issues that we were having previously on my end are resolved, because as you can see here, I have my microphone closer to me. I actually have it turned on because I didn't realize that there was a button I had to press. So, me, I work in technology, and I didn't even turn my microphone on. So,
well, we strive for betterment here, and I'm learning the technical issues.
Yeah,
my computer screen was sideways for a while tonight. I don't know how that happened. But we got out of it. Good old.
Yeah, we were a little bit like this earlier, but now everybody's back to normal.
Like this, I was kind of sideways. It wasn't working out too well. We figured it out, and we got up here, and we're doing the thing. So here is number 4, people coming at you, and we do have a lot to talk about tonight. Actually,
yeah.
The Purge is coming out. New movie, The Purge, is coming out.
Yes, fantastic. Speaking of the 4th podcast, next Wednesday, July 4th. We actually won't be having a podcast next week unless we decide to do it Monday or Tuesday. I'm not sure, but I'm hosting a party at my home, so I probably won't have time. But I digress, which is what we do here. But so basically, obviously, the 4th of July is a tradition here in America. But what has been a tradition coming up recently in the last couple of years has been a new Purge movie every year or every other year. And then, typically you have on like Sci-Fi or USA or like, one of the channels that show a lot of movie reruns is that you'll see The Purge on in some way, shape, or form, right, or pushed and a lot of PR, and you're hearing about it during this time of year. So you've got the first Purge, the prequel, coming out next year, next week. And I'm a big fan of it. Joe, what are your thoughts on the next film coming out?
I'm excited to see it. See where they're going to go with it. It looks like it's set in a rural setting, like it was, and or a city setting rather. And they're going a little. I think they're going to go a little harder in the Purge segment. Where it looked from the trailers, it looked awesome. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but it looked like they're going to do more. It looks like the cinematography is going to be a little heavier on the Purge action in this movie. That's what I saw.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for, because I feel like the first movie was very closed, claustrophobic. It was very almost home invasion horror. Right. So it could have literally been any other genre of horror.
Right.
It could have been disguised. To me, honestly, the very first Purge, looking back on it, it was a home invasion horror movie disguised as something new. So looking back on now the second, which was Anarchy, and the third, Election Year, which was probably my favorite story-wise, but you really, I feel like they kind of got away from the actual purge itself, and they didn't focus so much on the deadly aspects of it or the blood or the gore. And I mean, to be honest with you, like,
we got big lag. No, no, hang in there.
Lots of lag. Sorry. We'll hold off for a second. Are we still experiencing lots of lag? Oh, there you are. You're moving again.
I think we have it. I hear you.
We're good now? Okay, we're good.
Okay, we're back.
Technical difficulties. Yay, love the internet. So anyway, as I was saying, like you go with you know, the first film, disguised as anything but a home invasion horror flick, when in actuality that's what it was. Second and third one, you're in a cityscape, you're running around, you know, yada yada yada. But to me, they got so much away from the blood and the gore and let's see the creative kills and things like that. Because in all the conversation that the purge has inspired or sparked amongst circles of friends or whatever, you know, people ask, what would you do for the purge? Would you participate? How would you participate? Things like that. So I feel like the film series, the franchise itself, has kind of gotten away from the goriness of and the showcasing of the actual purge itself, and focusing more on the almost I felt like in the last film they glamorized a lot of it, and it was kind of like eye rolling almost. So I hope with this being a prequel and with a lot of the purge films are always social commentary films, so with everything going on today, which I'm not even going to get into in real life, so with everything going on today, social commentary wise, with that tying into the purge, I'm excited to see, are they going to go back to the roots? Are they going to get back into the blood and guts of it? Or do you think it's going to be another film with a bunch of political innuendos and social commentary that we can just basically go on Twitter and read? What are your thoughts on that? Where do you think the film is going to go versus where you hope it will go?
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me as well. We're having a little bit of lag here again on my end.
Yeah, it sucks. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on with the internet.
We're having a few technical issues tonight, but I agree with you in hopes that they are going to go more into the purge itself, and it looks like a 12-hour block a lot more in this film. That's what I'm hoping, and it looks like it takes place outside of the apartment building, which, you know, that's going to be a nice treat. It's going to be moved out, and it's going to have a different feel to it.
And I lost you. Sorry, I lost you there for a second. I didn't hear your last couple of seconds.
I'm just reiterating. Hopefully, it's going to take a different view. We'll get a different perspective.
Yeah.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I'm looking at my settings now, and I am hoping. Yeah, I can't change any.
Give me 1 second. Keep talking, Stevie.
Okay, I can't change any of my bandwidth settings on my end. So, yay, look at me. I'm solo. Joe stepped away from the computer. I'll just keep talking shit. So anyway, so like I was saying, the purge films have a tendency to redirect into current event social commentary. But, you know, sci-fi and horror specifically have always kind of been vessels of current events and social commentary. So that is something I do like about the Purge franchise. Joe, you can just ignore me. I was just kind of killing time and talking while you had stepped away from the computer for a minute.
I'm absolutely listening to every word that you're saying. What I did is just I just checked on the Wi-Fi status, and it looks like we're okay. On my end, I'm not sure what the problems are. We were just punched in the head with problems from Word One tonight.
Yeah, I know. Hey, it's okay. Hey, I mean, it happens sometimes.
I'm never going to shave before a broadcast again. You know what I mean? It has something to do with it. I put the juice on it somehow. I don't know. I got my juice tonight. I'm ready. I got I call this a banger. This is a extra large lace with a turbo shot in it. And if these people whose name I want to know on the other side of the cup, I'm sure everybody knows where this comes from. If somebody would want to sponsor us from here, we wouldn't say no. I'd be very happy. I
know, right? But all we can say is America runs on this brand. So
it doesn't,
or at least that's their slogan.
Joe's mouth runs on this brand too a lot.
Yes.
Facebook could tell you 100 times over. I go live like every 8 seconds or so.
Oh, that's so great.
July 4th. All right. So we covered quite a bit of The Purge, which I'm excited for, and hopefully I get to see. After you go see The Purge, and after everybody has seen that movie on that day, and before the fireworks go bang and your tummies are all full, I want you to settle in, and I want you to go to Facebook, and I want you to go to the Helmer page, and I want you to listen to a brand new track we're releasing on July 4th.
What? Oh my God. I completely forgot about that. Yes, you had mentioned something about that. And how it was just launching on next Wednesday. So, yes, what is the name of the track? If you can give that information away, can you tell us anything about it?
Yeah, I can. I have to go get it.
Whoops.
Oh, it's horrible. I don't even know my own material.
You have a lot going on, though. You're recording so much lately that whatever. It's okay to forget something every now and then.
I'll cover all that nonsense in just a minute, too. I already know it. It's When All Else Fails is the name of the track.
Okay.
Yeah, When All Else Fails. Now, Helmer's going to be releasing 2 different records eventually, and we're recording for both of them now. 1 track a piece, respectively, 1 track for each album. 1 record is going to be, and it's not formulated this way. It's just the way things worked out, and we thought about it, and Steve had a great idea to, instead of putting everything on 1 record, because the writing is so eclectically different, that he wanted to keep them separate for posterity. So 1 is going to be, respectively, a thrash record, and the other one, which is a very big leap for me, is going to be a doom metal record.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, which is like, gutturally slow. If you're for all you tech heads out there, we're going from I'm used to playing upwards of 150 BPM, which is beats per minute, 100 beats per minute. This stuff is down somewhere around 40 or 50 beats per minute.
Which
for me, in between the notes, there's one note, and I'm like, come on, we got another note. Bang, there's another note. Hey, look at there's one more. It's this process that's long and ardent, and I want to fill it all up with shit and put all kinds of fills and stuff in there, but you don't, because that's the beauty of it. And that's a different record. 1 track will be released from that eventually in the near future. It's already recorded. Title will come out probably in another week or so. So that's a July 4th thing. I'm sorry that was on the top of my head, and I wanted to touch base on and let people know that is coming on July 4th.
Hey, that's all good. Shamelessly plug whatever you need to plug. You've got exciting stuff coming out, man. You've got a lot of stuff coming down the pipe.
Well, the lead stuff is firing on all cylinders now, and we are all set to play July 6th. I believe it's July 6th at St. Vitus in Brooklyn, New York, and we're playing with, in my opinion, one of the metal legends, especially in the how should we title them? power metal Afacandos. I guess they were before it was. See, back in the day, it was just metal. All right, and when they came out, they were just metal like everybody else. And the name of the band is Jag Panzer.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, if you want to take it to the extreme and say that they are power metal, I guess you could put them into that category.
Sure.
But they've been around, forever and ever and ever. And one of the bands that I've always admired, and we're actually going to be playing with them in Brooklyn on the 6th.
Right on.
Again. Yeah, Armageddon Productions are out there. Guys are awesome.
Very cool.
So I got
That's awesome.
Heat stuff is rolling, and with the demo is on its way. Hopefully that'll be out shortly. Plus, and I'm probably going to have another 16,000 things out.
Hey, you're keeping yourself busy. You're doing what you need to do. I mean, that's what it's all about.
I love it.
So speaking of, drumming and everything like that, I think that's kind of like a good segue into our next topic, which isn't a happy one, unfortunately, especially with it just being a few days ago with Vinnie Paul's passing. Vinnie Paul, drummer of Pantera. So rest in peace, Vinnie Paul.
And Damage Plan.
Yeah, we still don't know, as far as like my research that I've done and things that I've looked up, still no official cause of death. From what they're saying is that it's not suspicious. So it's been handed over to the county coroner. But, not going to get into like medical shit like that. Like, who cares about that? Yeah. But, and me, myself, I don't think that I was ever, I couldn't ever really say like, oh, I can name more than 5 or 6 Pantera songs. I've never been a super fan. Doesn't mean I am. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't mean I don't respect the band or anything like that. But I will let Joe talk a little bit about Paul and what it means to him to lose such a legacy.
Oh my God! Oh God! First of all, I am absolutely shocked and saddened by his passing. One of the true great metal drummers of our time, not just our era. And it wasn't, people argue that, and I've seen people slamming him on the internet that he wasn't, as technical as another guy. And listen, Vinnie Paul was on the cutting edge of metal, extreme drumming before it became extreme. I mean, he was one of the guys that was on the front lines for that in the beginning.
Right.
And people take that so for granted and just don't pay him the homage that he just, really deserved it. So I remember oh my God, when the hell was this? This had to be 1987, I want to say. I don't want to date myself. So I'm going to say for posterity, 87, the year that Cowboys from Hell came out. Now here in New Jersey, as many of you know, there aren't tons of metal radio stations. And you have to remember, folks, this is before the advent of the internet.
Yeah.
I know. It's quite like blow your mind, man, but there was no internet.
No, I remember growing up, the only metal station that really I listened to was WSOU out of Seton Hall. That was it.
Thank you very much. And that is exactly where I was going, Stevie.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That was it. Seton Hall Pirate Radio. That was it.
Right, Pirate Radio, the darkest rock around. And it was because there was nobody else doing the stuff. So, all right, true story, and I'll keep this brief because I can take this thing for a tangent. I was working for an auto parts store. I'm not going to name the brand of auto parts, but this particular brand of auto parts had hats on their trucks, okay? And I was driving a truck for them. In my spare time, I had another full-time job at that point, but I was driving a truck for them. And in the truck, they had a radio. And I had SOU cranked in this thing no matter what. I mean, it didn't matter what time of the day I was driving it. It could be 5 in the morning, could be 8 at night. The radio was always on 12, it was cranked. And
that's how it should be.
Right. And I heard this drum line and this drum pattern on the speakers. And I hear this really eclectic rhythm and this crazy ass guitar line, and I'm like, and I'll be quite frank. I'll be very candid and quote what I said. And I remember saying it out loud. Who the fuck is that? You know, because it was so out there from everything else that had been there, and they did a double shot. That was the Art of Shred, and then they went into Psycho Holiday or Cowboys from Hell. And I heard as you with the guitar, you know, the first
right.
And I mean, I actually pulled into a quick check. I almost got fired for this because it took me like 20 minutes to go. You know, anyway, I pulled into a quick check, and I'm sitting in a parking lot, just literally rocking out to these two songs, and like, you know, shredding it up in the truck. Yeah, it's awesome. And it's Pantera. I was hooked from that day forward, and you know, there's been a lot of controversy and a lot of bullshit and a lot of things said about those guys. But, you know, right up to the time that Dime got shot and killed, unfortunately, I feel so sad for the Abbott family. That is really it's a travesty to have both sons go like that is horrible. But right up until his death, I mean, they were one of the most prolific bands out there as far as metal went. I mean, everybody thought that they evolved away from metal, and they were getting cliche, and they were getting wallcore, and they were doing all. You know what? I attribute it to growth in the band, and you know, writing goes different avenues. You know, you pursue different things, and at that time,
well, writing evolves, writing grows. You know, you're just like a person, or like to be as strange as to reference a tree or a flower of some sort. Writing grows and changes. It doesn't stay the same, and I think that goes for music, that just as it does for fiction, just as it does for film or television. You know what I mean? So nobody is ever going to stay the same.
Right.
No writer is ever going to stay the same. You know, again, whether it be writing on paper or writing music. So when we look at it that way, yeah, a lot of people complain that they change, or, you know, what have you. However, like somebody like myself, who I would never, like I said, I would never consider myself a Pantera super fan to where I could tell you anything about them that wasn't already mainstream. You know what I mean? Like, no hidden fun facts here. Yeah, shame on me. But I mean, you know, whatever. But for me, if somebody was to, like, somebody like myself on the outside looking into, where I was going to say, like, did they ever sell out? No, I don't think so. No. If anybody asked me, like, do you think that they changed and they got less metal, or they got away from metal, I'd be like, nope, it's still good old Pantera. And I guess that's one of the things, in my opinion, that I've always thought about the band, is that they kind of have always been a very constant thing in a very inconsistent industry. So
I think one of the things that Vinnie Paul taught most drummers was how to play in the pocket. He wasn't ridiculously over the top with the stuff that he did, and it was purposeful. He played for the song. He showed drummers how to play the rhythm and be artistic and craftful in your approach to the rhythm itself. And then when the fills come up, obviously, you know, you're going to throw something sweet in there and you know, have fun with it and do what you do with you, put your staple to it. But he actually showed us how to play in the pocket cleanly and really just to enjoy and play the rhythm, you know, and be creative within the rhythm first, and then when your fills come up. And so there was a lot of innovation on his end, I thought, that he was never credited for, Stevie. And, you know, it's sad. You know, people look back and the same controversy was true with John Bonham, believe it or not. A lot of guys in the drumming field are like, well, you know, the new guys, the newer generations of drummers, a lot of them question it. Well, why was he so great? Well, because you weren't there, and you didn't understand or see what was there when he was doing what he was doing. Like just like Vinny, he was doing things that weren't. It wasn't that they weren't done before. It was how he was doing them,
Right.
and
Okay.
his approach to things, and his view focused on that specific thing, expanded and shown, and you could really see where he was going with things. He was very apparent in his delivery, which again, a lot of drummers sound like they have a bunch of this guy, and then they may have a piece of that guy and some of this guy and some of that. But Vinnie Paul was able to do that and put himself on it and staple himself to it, and it was his, and he made that work for him, so well that it was, one of his greatest strengths was just being able to take a rhythm and manipulate the shit out of it and say, that's a Vinnie Paul rhythm. You heard it as soon as you heard it. You knew by the kick, the manipulation of the kick drums. You knew it was Vinnie Paul. And I was really, really happy with the direction. Southern Trendkill was supposed to be this big letdown album, and that was one of Dimebag's, best records as a guitar player. And Vinnie Paul was right behind him. So I'm very sad to say that he's gone. The world lost another great artist and a great drummer. Damage Plan was amazing too, and he was moving on all things. They're not sure what happened. And Stevie, I'll be honest with you, I hope to God it's not another overdose, man, or
I know
suicide. I mean,
or really, I feel like another suicide would just be really another disservice to the whole music industry. I mean, you've got Chester, Benefield. I never know how to say his last name. All I know is that he looks like Justin Timberlake, but he's not, and he's from Linkin Park, which I did, and I always was a fan of Linkin Park. But see, I've never been like one of the. I was never like one of these kids growing up that needed to know every band member of every band that I listened to.
Chester Bennington, I believe.
Obviously, I could tell you who Kurt Cobain was, and Chino Moreno, and like my absolute like favorites and things like that. But like Chris Cornell, obviously I can tell you who that was. But that's another unfortunate suicide. And you look at the music industry as a whole, and throughout the decades that I've been alive, there's been countless suicides and overdoses so I hope he is not another addition to that list. And then of course we're talking about music, but that's not to take away from either of the recent suicides of Anthony Bourdain or Kate Spade.
That's crazy. That's just so crazy.
Which kind of segues me into the next thing that I wanted to talk about with you is, so what obviously Vinnie Paul was an innovator in his own way. He left a legacy behind him. So as far as like other musicians or directors, writers, actors, actresses, whatever, what do you think makes their complete strangers, you and I, people that we have never met, are so affected when these legends die? Is it their work? Is it the way that they live their lives? Like what in your opinion makes it so such a tremendous loss when literally someone we've never met dies, and it can actually affect us personally and make us super sad and feel like we've lost a part of ourselves? What's your opinion on that?
I'm going to give you two examples of it. And one is personal. And this just happened this year.
Okay.
I was playing in the other band that was touring the world, and you guys all knew who. I'm pretty sure you know who that was. Okay, so we're doing the thing, and there's fans that become repeat offenders on the site, and saying hello, and sending messages, and congratulations and so forth, and just supporting the hell out of us. And one particular gentleman whose name I'm not going to give out, he was constant, and we became friends, and we started talking. He lived on the West Coast, and he's still here, thank God.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't tell me he died.
Yeah, I was getting a little cryptic. I want to clear him up. No, but and that's the point. Without making a long story out of it, he went through a lot of troubling times, and I was talking to him through the times that he was having, and I was paraphrasing parts of our songs, and I was just showing him that life goes on, and there's reasons for you to be here, and you should always, push for that, and keep going, and not give up or give in to anything. And about a month after, I didn't hear from him at all.
Oh, and, God.
Yeah, and he took a hiatus. He took a breather, and when he came back, and this is the thing that the relevancy of this is that he told me that even though we had never met, and we're not like best friends, he felt close because of the music, the writing, the lyrics that I was paraphrasing to him. He was understanding, and he goes, "You touched me enough for me to wake up and realize that life still happens. I still got to be part of things. I got to get out there and do stuff and be part of it." So, to me, I actually, and I'll be, I'm not afraid to admit it. It brought tears to my eyes.
Right.
That I was actually able to affect somebody's life like that. And now we're nowhere near the scale of one of these major bands that, is out there with thousands, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of fans, and they're impacted the same way.
Right.
I can remember, I shared a story just tonight about Pantera, right? Me driving a truck.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Every time I hear Cowboys from Hell, it takes me back to 1987, and it pinpoints dots in your life, happy dots, sad dots, whatever, but it takes you to these spots, and they become intimate.
Yeah.
And that's where the intimacy comes in, with a band. And when you lose somebody, it feels like you lost a piece of yourself.
I can jive with that 100%. I don't have anything on your level to where, you probably saved that guy's life. In some way.
I never looked at it. All I looked at is that he's still here, and
you made a friend out of it.
Well, it meant a lot. It meant a lot to know that.
Yeah.
You do matter. What we do does affect people, and people, they look forward to things, and they look up to you to do things, to keep them happy.
Yeah. No. I agree with you 100%. I think a lot of people, we do have a celebrity obsessed culture, but I think it is rightfully so because we are also an extremely socially detached culture.
Yeah.
Especially with the rise of social media and the rise of the internet. And it's harder for people. Yeah. It's harder for people to make genuine connections with others in the real world, IRL, in real life. It's hard for everyday normal people to make genuine connections. So imagine someone who is suffering from mental illness or, just
depression,
random day, depressed, it's hard to connect with people that you don't know. But if it's somebody that you just, happen to know online, and if you're lucky enough to connect with an artist that has changed, touched, or moved your life in some way, it can be absolutely devastating when that person is no longer here to contribute to the art community. So I really liked your take on that. That kind of was what I was hoping that you could deliver to the conversation. Thinking back on from my end, things that inspire me and that have kind of shaped me. People always ask me like, oh, what made you get into horror? What made you enjoy zombies or writing and things like that? And, I kind of always go back to the same thing of George Romero. I remember watching the original Night of the Living Dead, black and white, with my dad, and him thinking it was hilarious that I was so scared of it. You know what I mean? I was a baby, but I mean, it was funny. And my father is the sole reason I'm into horror. You know what I mean? Like, he was always like, well, watch Faces of Death, do this, blah, blah, blah. And so when George Romero died, I was shocked. Like, I just jaw dropped, like, what the fuck?
It's a different world, right?
Who am I supposed to look to create genuine? And I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, he is the most amazing thing to ever walk the earth when it comes to cinematography or casting choices or things like that. But his stories and his ideas and his creations were what defined a genre in this country. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to digress and go into the Italian very first zombie film, but you know what I mean? I'm talking about here in the now and pop culture and things like that. So like, that's just my personal story. I never met the man. I never had a one-on-one conversation with him, but his stories will always be with me, zombie or not zombie. You know, they'll always stick with me. They will always make me remember what it was like to be scared as a little girl, what it was like to want more of that fear. You know what I mean? And that's what kind of, I think, drives horror junkies. And so that's, my own personal, throw in my hat on that is how I was like, well, fuck, who the fuck is going to bring, the bread home, like, when it comes to this genre anymore? Like, certainly not fucking shit like The Walking Dead. Like, no offense, Robert Kirkman, but I mean, he already knows it sucks basically on AMC. That's why he sold all this shit to Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. But it's like, like when it comes to the zombie genre, I don't like to think of it as a dying genre, but part of me wonders, like, oh man, did it die with George? Like,
this is just like metal. I mean, this is seriously, right?
You wonder, did that part of metal die with this person? Like, you can't help but wonder.
And then it goes back down, right?
And,
and that's the thing, and back and that's another thing that happened too. Metal was like crushed under the wheels for a while there with other stuff, and it became passe. The mainstream masses thought it was passe to listen to metal.
Well, and then that whole thing, and I'm not even gonna lie and be like, oh, I wasn't a fan, but like when new metal was a thing, I was, I listened, but to me it
became a thing. People really latched on to different styles of music, and they left it down like Redheaded Stepchild, and Pantera was still putting out records, and other bands were still putting. Overkill was still cranking out records, and people were like, oh, I used to go to Overkill shows like 100 years ago. They're still putting records out, man. If you're a fan then, maybe you like them now. Just saying, you might actually enjoy. But Pantera was one of the bands that was actually still pushing that movement. And DTA was there.
Oh, yeah.
We played in front of 3 people at the Cove. That was fun. But yeah, dude, back in the day, I mean, we'd go to a show and play a show, and people would, because of the type of music like this, you have to remember Shannon Hoon was around back then, if that means anything to anyone. It was like a movement almost, and it wasn't like this flower power thing, but it was kind of along. People were sitting down at a metal show, like sitting on the floor, and we get up and we blow it up, and they don't understand what it is. They don't even know what they're seeing because it's so passe, and it was down under the wraps, but it was still there.
Yeah,
just like the zombie thing, it's still there. It's always going to be there, and there's always a new way to tell it. There's always a different way to show it. and you perfected the art of that in my eyes.
No, oh my Lord.
Yeah, you're absolutely, you're nailing it. You put a different spin on it. You put such a great spin on it.
And you know, like some people have said that to me. Some people have said like, "Oh, you have a fresh new way of telling these same stories," which that's why that's why I haven't come out with any full-length novels or anything since Fiverr, is because I love the idea of novellas and short stories and things like that, and I haven't had the passion that I do about most stories that I can tell as I do about the apocalypse. Maybe it's just because if you look at going back to what we were talking about in the beginning of the podcast, social commentary, horror is a reflection of current events. Looking around, like you kind of take a look at the world and you're like, what could really fuck this shit up right now? You know what I mean? Like who truly amongst us is like, wow, those politicians are real great guys. I love being around them. So if you think about it in a room of like a bunch of bullshit that we just keep reading about on the news and hearing about on TV, and it just gets shoved down our fucking throats
every day.
What better way than to cause a disruption with the apocalypse and science fiction and horror, zombies, aliens, some kind of viral outbreak, and a heroine or a hero to save the day with their friends and things like that. It's a lot of fun. That's why it's my favorite genre. But I will in no way say that I have defined or done anything. So, but thank you for saying that.
I think you're welcome. I honestly believe that. I mean, you know me. I'm not I'm not going to push something at you that I don't think is true. And I absolutely believe that you have a way of spinning things to make it different, to make it fresh. It's just a different, more of a personal touch on the characters, maybe more description, more vivid episodes and scenes. Maybe that's it. But you absolutely depict like real life events. I mean, I can see. So when I read a book, I like to be reading the words and having a picture form in my head mentally. If I'm reading something and I'm not getting any mental picture of it, it's not descriptive enough. It's not something. And I mean, I'm living the characters,
Yeah, I appreciate that.
The police station scene from the last book. It was so vivid. I mean, I could hear the shotgun shells. And
that's awesome. Thank you.
It is. It's very cool.
I appreciate that. Shameless plug on that. Kind of just piggybacking off what you said, because I can never turn up the opportunity to shamelessly plug myself.
Good.
But feedback that I've gotten on my anthology series, Never Say Die, Stories of the Zombie Apocalypse. A lot of the feedback is that each story in the book is extremely different from the other. Each character is extremely different from the other. The point of views are all different. You have different races, you have different ages, you have different genders. You have even a story told from the point of view of a child. So if you're into, as Joe would put it, a fresh take, is what my thing is.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Check out Never Say Die, out from Bermuda Press. You can get it on paperback or ebook. I haven't fucked around with audiobook or anything with it yet, only because it is a little strange because there is so many different point of views and characters and things like that. I don't know what the audio narration style would be, but I'm probably going to look into it here pretty soon. Kind of get the ball rolling as I finish up with my current project of Trevor, which is a spin-off series from Never Say Die.
Awesome. I can't wait to read.
That is nearing the end. So stay tuned for information on that.
Let's go. I can't wait to hear it, man. I can't wait to read it. Do you do audiobooks at all or no? Do you want to do audiobooks?
I don't narrate them. No, because
No,
I say things like and I change my inflection of my voice too often. I have a horrible, as they say down in the South, I have a horrible Yankee accent. So whatever.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. But yes, I have 3 audiobooks available. The Breadwinner, book 1 in the Breadwinner trilogy, Haven, book 2, and All Good Things, book 3. So I have 3 audiobooks available.
Awesome.
You can get them on Amazon, iTunes, audible.com. If anybody wants any free codes, I might have some laying around left over.
Free stuff, people.
Yeah, free stuff's cool. If anybody ever wants a review copy of anything, whether it be any of the Breadwinner books, Never Say Die, Madness Burns, or /Viver stuff, hit me up. I love getting reviews and feedback. I would gladly send you a review copy in exchange for an honest review.
Awesome. Killer. Well, that's it, people. Get those reviews going. Eventually, we're going to become tech savvy enough here to have people come up and be on here with us and have people watch us live. We're trying now to get the word out.
Now that
have you guys come up live and watch this stuff.
We kind of have like a time and a specific day of the week. Looks like Wednesdays are going to work best for us, with the exception of like holiday weeks and things like that. Like next week there won't be a podcast, but it looks to be around 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Time. Stevie and Joe, Horror Metal Casts. This is where it's at. So
this is it, peeps. This is a shit right here. We can curse up here. We're adults. We can say shit, right?
Fuck yeah. I say fuck all the time. But we're still looking for feedback and comments. You know, questions. Absolutely. Do you have anything to say about episodes that have come out prior to this one? What do you have to say about this episode? Always drop us a line, email. Any social media of your preferred contact, and comment box, of course, because this is on YouTube.
Right.
So, I mean, you know, anything in closing that you have to say, Joe?
Happy fucking 4th of July. We won't see you guys out there. Don't blow shit up, you know, unless it's fun, but don't hurt anybody while you do it.
Nope, don't hurt anyone, and don't forget to clean up after yourselves. When you're done with your fireworks.
Try to remember
any more than it's already polluted.
Exactly. I mean, for me, I just want maybe if people could remember what July 4th is about. It seems like that's gotten lost in translation. I don't know if most of you know me by now. I'm like, I don't wear like red, white, and blue underwear, but I am very patriotic. I'm very patriotic.
Hey, that's okay.
Yeah, no, and I always remember my father's, you know, stance on things and the way he was, and you know, 4th of July, first thing in the morning, he was a World War II veteran, so
awesome.
Well, yeah, 4th of July, you know, morning, you know, we looked at the flag, we talked about the flag. So it was a big part of my life growing up, and I just want everybody to stay safe, have an awesome fucking holiday. Please check out Stevie's writings, people. God, you know, she's telling you the stuff is free. Some of the stuff is free. Come and get it. Eventually, we'll get some links up here for you.
Yes, I will be look out on Twitter and Instagram and the Breadwinner Trilogy Facebook page. I will be posting this link momentarily.
Yeah.
And please make sure you have your reminder set for next Wednesday, July 4th, for Joe's new single to drop.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, the Helmer single. All is oh my God, I forgot it already. This is terrible.
I'm excited.
When all else fails. There it is. I got it. I nailed it. See that? I put the glasses on and I remember everything.
And you remembered. Glasses make you smarter, people.
It does. Hey, you know, it really does. I look like 10 times smarter, I think, you know. I don't think it has anything to do with this. This big white cup here doesn't make you do anything except
Except for talk a mile a minute. I mean, but we always do that anyway. So
yeah. Now I'm babbling. All right. Like Stevie said, the podcast will be available the next week after the 4th, and the airtime is 7 p.m. We are very excited to be able to bring you this podcast. It's something we've talked about doing for a long time, and we're actually able to do it. So as we grow and as the thing moves forward, we're going to grow with it. You're going to get links like plastered up here. Maybe we'll even have a guy helping us do some shit down the line there.
But it will be better. The audio will be better. Everything will be better. I mean, fuck. You don't even understand what I'm working with here with my computer. It's horrible. I hate it. But it will be better going forward. We're going to get it together. I mean, this is episode 4. Some people can't get their shit together until they hit episode 100. But, I mean, whatever. Just keep listening, keep tuning in, keep sharing, keep watching, keep helping us grow, because that's what we want to do. And again, I can't stress enough how much we want to hear from people. Please reach out to us. Oh, I hit my microphone. Please reach out to us. Please let us know what you would like us to discuss. What are your responses to things that we've discussed? Things like that. So, again, next Wednesday, no podcast. Sorry, guys. Check out the first Purge. Check out Joe's new single. And I don't know, Joe, you got anything in closing?
That's it. I just want to wish everybody a happy 4th. Happy 4th, America. Everybody enjoy your holiday. Come see Led. And, check out all this other wonderful stuff that Stevie and I do. Please feel free, to email or contact us personally. We're very talkative.
Oh yeah, we'll pretty much talk to a brick wall if you probably let us. We have a whole conversation before we realized nobody was there. So
my wife will be thrilled, and oh God, yeah, go ahead, talk to him here. Take him for an hour, just please, he'll talk to you. Because I love to talk. And Chrissy has not made an appearance in this film tonight.
I know. She's been off camera hiding.
Well, I moved. I don't know if you can tell. There's a great
you've
red
got
wall
the
behind me.
red wall.
Yeah. I mean, if I want to get like technical, I could. There you go, a little plant action going there.
Oh, there you go. Some
Jane Moore, right? I'm very astute. There we go. Okay, my dining room, people. There's nothing fake about this shit. This is the real deal. This is my dining room table, and here I am in my dining room chair at my dining room table. And I don't care, I have no shame saying that, because what's important, the most important thing is that what Steve and I talk about here is real.
It is real.
And we want everybody to enjoy some topics that, aren't fake news. You're not getting jammed down or beating the hell up on Facebook. Politics, right? This is just fun. We want your feedback. We want everybody to come up and enjoy what we talk about, and we want you to be a part of it more than anything else. We want everybody to be a part and just talk with us. And again, I'm very caffeinated, and I'm very Italian, and my hands do this a lot, and I know it. And
it's all good. It's all good. I just had to turn my little light back on. I don't know if you can see it. He's a little unicorn.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I use for. He's like a fucking battery powered nightlight. But I use that as like extra light in my office, because basically, like Joe said, this is all very at home. It's real. I have the worst lighting in the world in my home office. I have like,
that looks cool. I like it. I actually like the look.
I have like one light bulb in the ceiling fan. It's horrible. I don't look like I have jaundice in real life. I want everybody to know that.
And I'm actually not an Oompa Loompa. I'm not. It's just the color on the screen. I didn't come from Oompa Loompa land. I don't have orange shoes or black. And I don't have white circles, really. Here.
Oh, I love it. I love it. But again, guys, we can't thank you enough for, even if you watched it for 5 minutes and you hate us, thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for watching.
Again, happy 4th of July next week to our American watchers. And, stay tuned. 2 weeks from now, we'll have a lot more to talk about. And that's a wrap, I think.
That's it, people. Don't take any wooden nickels. Keep kicking ass. Happy 4th. We love you guys. And we'll see you next broadcast.